"60 years, 60 wonderful years of trials and triumphs, brotherhood and companionship, all which gave us the memories we have today." Hello everyone, my name is Ricky Cody, Spring Pledge Class of 2012. And on this very special day, we're going to take a look back at our chapter's rich history, as well as acknowledge those who got us to where we are today. So sit back, relax, and let us show you how grateful we are for everything that you have done.
But above all, the history of the fraternity is the history of the spirit that has lived within this house for years. The Phi Psi spirit makes each brother proud of the emblem he wears.
I believe that keeping up on our fraternity's history is very important for our chapter, because a fraternity isn't just for the undergraduate members, it's for the graduated alumni members as well. As former historian, I've had many people come up to me and thank me for the work I've done as historian in trying to preserve our chapter's history as well as promote it on the Facebook page.
Making connections with alumni is extremely important to us. We are brothers for life, which means most of our lives will be spent as alumni. They help us keep the traditions of Phi Psi and make sure that we can continue to make new traditions.
As the Alumni Relations Chair, it's really been my goal to make sure that the alumni are as connected to the undergraduates as possible. Because a lot of people don't realize that the only reason that Phi Psi still stands today is because of the last 60 years of alumni who have made it what it is. And that needs to continue forward. So to maintain that relationship and that support group is definitely very helpful in the longevity of the fraternity.
The brothers that knew better than I, that I should be a part of Phi Kappa Psi and extend a bid to me, have made all the difference. Not a day goes by that my membership in Phi Kappa Psi does not affect who I am. For that, I am eternally grateful.
It feels weird to be on the other side of recruitment now, and it's just a funny experience to be like, now I'm seeing the side of trying to get new members to come down here and see the house and experience and get the experiences that have become so valuable to me. It's a huge challenge, and it pushes you to be a better person and show just how strong the Phi Psi actually makes you. It's more than just a simple, hey, this is Phi Psi, that's what we do. You have to show the devotion, the power, the love that ends up coming from being a member of Phi Psi, and being able to give that and inspire them to see that that's what Phi Psi is about becoming not simply a gentleman, but a gentleman in the global society.
Over the last year at Phi Kappa Psi, we've had a very productive year. We managed to bring in a very wonderful pledge class of 15 new brothers. We've also been very involved all around campus. We have 2 brothers currently serving on the IFC Executive Board. We have the IFC President and the IFC VP of Operations. We have multiple brothers that are involved in other organizations such as the VU Dance Marathon, Relay for Life, all kinds of other organizations on campus like Student Senate. We've been very involved in other organizations, philanthropic events such as Pi Beta Phi's Pi Fest, the KKG Boat Regatta, all types of other events, Swishes for Wishes. We have also grown a lot this year just in the involvement with our alumni, with our 60th anniversary chili cook-off that we had in February, which was very successful. We managed to raise over $500, and we were able to donate it towards Kelly Tellez, who is a Tri-Delta here, and she relapsed with cancer over Christmas break, and we changed our donation from going to the Boys and Girls Club to go to her and her family for the support of her treatment, and that went over very well, and it was a phenomenal event, and it was probably one thing that we will continue to do from now on because of the success that we had with that.
So a couple of the philanthropic efforts I've been a part of as a Phi Psi, a couple of them have really stuck out to me personally. It seems like every year that we get involved with VU Day of Caring, and that's a university-wide event I've loved being a part of it, and just seeing the guys get a little fired up about going out and doing some pretty ridiculous community service events sometimes. It might be, you know, power washing something or painting something. We've even gone and cleaned up the dunes. That's been a lot of fun. We've also done a couple of different, you know, local community events where we've gone over to, whether it's Habitat or we've gone to housing opportunities, done a couple of projects with them, again, painting, or I guess a couple of years ago we even did a interior renovation in one of the homes that we're working at with Habitat. And specifically with those events, Phi Psi has really helped me personally be able to reach out into the community and organize these events myself. As philanthropy chair and as a couple of different positions I've had in the house, I've actually been able to work with these community-based organizations, set up these events, and pull off a pretty successul day with them. And it's all been a part and thanks to Phi Psi, because of the connections I've gained through the fraternity and the friendships and the brotherhood that this has been to me. Have really been able to uplift me, give me the strength to carry out these projects, to organize them well, and get a lot of volunteers going to them. I don't think I'd be able to organize or participate in an event nearly as successfully if it weren't for this organization that's backing me. And I think that's what sets us apart from many other organizations, is that philanthropy and service have been such a core value to us from our inception. And it's been something that's not really ever changed. I think it's just gotten stronger as the years have gone on, and our brotherhood has expanded to different chapters and so many more members. I think it's just given us that many more opportunities to get out and make, you know, a name for ourselves and say, hey, we are men of the Phi Kappa Psi fraternity. We want to help other people, and we're gonna have a lot of fun doing it.
We learned since pledging that the creed we recite is much more than just words on a page, but rather a beacon of light to which guides us on our journey to becoming men. And it's that creed, it's those very words that we follow and we live every day that got us to where we are today.
I first received the Henderson pictures during my junior year during Wills from Mitch Deck. The pictures I thought were very interesting. They showed me how Valpo life as well as Phi Psi life was back during the 1950s when we were first chartered. I really enjoyed seeing all the documents of our chartering as well as pictures of the old campus, which is drastically different from what it is today, and learning about the different ceremonies that our brothers, when they were first becoming our brothers during the chartering, had to go through. It was a really cool experience seeing all of that, and I hope people have been enjoying my Throwback Thursday pictures that I've been posting weekly. It was great to see all those pictures from Harry Henderson, and it's just really great to have a connection like that between the past and the present.
Noble fraternity, Phi Kappa Psi, thy loyal sons will lift thy banner on high. Brave may we ever be in all life's fiercest battles, bearing the glorious shield of Phi Kappa Psi.
The 1960s were a very interesting time to be here at the university. It was quite large then. In fact, the university then was even a little larger than it is now, even though now it's about as large as it's been for 30 years. And the Phi Psis were a thriving operation. They were known really then for their athletic prowess, both in the intramural competition and in having a lot of varsity athletes, especially football players, in the house. There were some of the major football players were in the house, as were some of the major basketball players, though basketball players tended more to be Phi Delts and football players tended more to be Phi Psis.
During the 80s was kind of the heyday of Phi Kappa Psi at Valparaiso University. We had, I think, when I pledged, over 100 active members. Our pledge class was 27, which is one of the largest pledge classes that I think we've ever had also.
really the most memorable one was literally a 4-hour massive snowball fight that started out of nowhere. It had Colin Sainer coming out in just a vest and shorts, and it turned into almost like an outsiders rumble over on the IM soccer fields over there. It went all the way over to college apartments because we were chasing people. We were getting people's cars stuck in snow. We waited for people to walk out of buildings and just launch snowballs at them. It was all harmless fun that was spontaneous, and those are the things I think majority of people when they leave remember, are the spontaneous moments, not the planned dance parties or anything like that, or formals. It's those spontaneous moments when you have a 50-man snowball fight that comes out of nowhere.
When I was rushed by Phi Psi, many of them found this a little peculiar because I didn't have any athletic prowess. I was a good student, and people used to joke that I was pledged to bring up the overall GPA of the house. Actually, Phi Psi is the only place I looked at, and it was because of the Fort Wayne connection. There were many, many Phi Psis who had gone to Fort Wayne Concordia High School and whom I knew when I came, and it was those relationships that explains how I ultimately became a Phi Psi.
Would be Cabo, our trip to Cabo, actually, for the leadership experience, but just for the amount of craziness that we were able to have and bond as a group when we went there and had a good time and meeting other chapters and things like that. I mean, yeah, we had a lot of fun, a lot of crazy nights, a lot of nights some people don't remember, but at the same point, we learned a lot while we were there. So I mean, that's one of the best things, is to be able to take a trip like that and learn with your brothers and still become closer.
I was at the 50th celebration here in Valpo, and I remember sitting next to Don Feitz at that celebration, and again, him reiterating what Phi Psi meant to him. We have used his promotional video for years and years, but to have him again in person state how much Phi Psi impacted his life was in a way awe-inspiring to hear that, and it really helped me reevaluate what it has done for my life over the past 30 years too, and it has helped me to get to where I am today, being Dean of the College of Engineering.
One of the more amusing things, I know you were going to be interested in some of the memorable moments. The house actually did figure out how to make use of my body for athletic purposes, because they discovered, and it wasn't hard to discover, you could tell by looking at me, that I was quite thin, very lightweight. And they realized that the wrestling competition, part of the intramural program, had no one making the 123-pound weight class for several years, and that if I could simply get down under 123, which didn't take much than missing a couple of meals, I could simply show up and get the 10 points and contribute to this ferocious competition between the Theta Chi's, the Phi Psi's, and the Phi Delts for the All-Sports Trophy. I mean, this was considered to be just an absolute must that all the brothers contribute to this, either by being fans or, of course, by playing. And so, sure enough, I showed up my sophomore year and again my junior year and claimed the victory without having to wrestle. But the senior year, the Theta Chi's got tired of this, so they rushed a guy who also showed up, neither one of us having ever wrestled before, but now we both had to do this. He was very short, a kind of a butterball person, and I was very tall and thin, so I had leverage. And a couple of the football players, a guy named Harry Russert, who was the middle linebacker, taught me just 2 wrestling moves, the night before. And so both of us came up there and staggered around, and people found this very amusing. They knew this was coming, this kind of bizarre match. Anyway, so to make a long story short, I won the match. I forget how. I just remember going into severe oxygen debt. So I was undefeated then, and this made me something of a hero, having pulled my own weight to contribute to the Phi Psi's winning the All-Sports Trophy over the Theta Chi's.
Phi Psi has been extremely important to me for a number of reasons, the biggest of which is just the brotherhood that I've experienced here and the compassion and the caring attitude that I've received from everyone here.
What I remember most about, I think, my experience with Phi Kappa Psi is it really helped me form my character through college. It helped with leadership, developing leadership. It helped me learn a lot more about myself and what it meant to actually live with a bunch of men, and really men who had the same vision, the same core values that I did. And that allowed me to really develop who I was as a person. And some of those relationships continue now, 26 years later, when I graduated from the university. And even this weekend, I'm looking forward to catching up with a few of my friends who've already emailed me and said they're going to be back in town.
One of the biggest takeaways I have from being a brother of Phi Kappa Psi is to see the tradition of excellence exhibited by our brothers, both from other chapters across the country as well as our own. I enjoyed going to the American Leadership Academy at Cabo San Lucas, where we met Jerry Nelson and Paul Weinman and other brothers as well who are alumni. It's great to have a support network like that, and I really appreciate that that some of the greats of our fraternity are as active as they are and as interested in the well-being of their current members as well as their success in their future. I'd just like to thank all of our alumni, all of the alumni nationally, and everyone who's just been very supportive of Phi Psi. You've given me some great opportunities, and I just would like to thank you for that.
My own experience in Phi Psi was that I naturally got to know and work with and like quite a group of people who were different from me. I, as I say, wasn't an athlete. These people were, for the most part, though not exclusively, and of course they had a lot of different interests, so it sort of broadened my capacity to live and work with a much broader spectrum of people than I would have had I not pledged, or had I pledged a house that was built around a particular academic interest or something of that sort. So I think the main thing is that simply it gave me an opportunity to get to know and get to know how to work with a wider variety of people.
So I think one of the main takeaways from becoming a brother here is definitely just the opportunity to network with a lot of people who are united under the same ideals. Living in the house here has been great because I'm living with 30-something other guys who are always willing to help me with academics, help me with personal problems. Just on any level, they're willing to be there for me. And after I graduate, I realized that I'm not going to be living in this community anymore, but I'm still going to be part of that greater Phi Psi community. And that's why I think it's especially important as undergrads that we take an opportunity to get to know our alumni and really try to help them so that they can also help us. Just that give and take support system is really important. So as the Alumni Relations Chair, I think that that's something we've really been trying to push in recent years, is to really reestablish the connection with our alumni and let them know that they are as big of a part of our experience as the undergraduates currently are.
Biggest personal takeaway from Phi Psi was the community building that we had here. There were times that I needed my brothers more than any time else, and I always knew I could count on them to come to my aid and be there for me in the end.
Phi Kappa Psi has offered many opportunities for me to become the better person that I so desire to be. Some of those have been through house positions and being able to join committees to see how older members of the chapter have been running them and to get insight onto how things should be fixed and how they can get better.
And then finally, going along with that, this woman that we helped, she actually wrote a letter to us and mailed that to us. And it's a very, very nice letter. It details kind of her history and why she felt so blessed to have us helping her move. But there was one final line in that that really stuck out to me, and it reads, taking time out of your day to help me, that makes you all very special in my life, so I want to thank you very much. And this woman's name's Peggy, and I think that really stands out to me as one of my greatest experiences in the fraternity. One of the biggest takeaways I have is, even though not a lot of us felt that we were doing a whole lot that day, we did a little bit of here, we moved this box there, we swept this, whatever it might be, but we actually impacted a human life. This woman really needed our help. She probably wouldn't have been able to move without us. Housing Opportunities couldn't find a group that was willing to move her all the way, and we stepped up and did it.
So there was another, I guess, way in which the Phi Psi's helped, which was to get you to try things that you'd never tried, and even to put yourself in potentially humiliating situations for the good of a larger group, et cetera, et cetera. So all of that spirit and so forth, I think, made me strengthened my character. I was just in Fort Wayne for my 50th high school reunion, and there were a number of Phi Psi's there who'd been in the house, and of course the handshake, everything, and see how they're doing and stay in touch. And so it has been an ongoing relationship with those individuals who were in the house at that time.
When I walked in the front door of the Phi Psi house on Mound Street, it instantly felt like home. I was glad that nothing had changed since 1970. I guess home is always home. And your brothers will always be your brothers, even if you've never met them. I felt I hadn't been gone a day because it was so easy to talk to every one of the brothers. I had some of the best times of my life in that house, and I was glad to know that they were doing the same.
When I came back to Valparaiso in 1997 as a faculty member, one of the first things I did was try to re-engage with the fraternity, and was their chapter advisor and faculty advisor for, I think, 7 years before I went to Germany as overseas director. And what I remember most about those 7 years is even though students come and go over time, the same core values really stay there. The idea of honesty, integrity, character, focus on academics, focus on intramurals, all those same things that when I was a student, in the 80s were still there in the late 90s and early 2000s. And I guess for a minute it surprised me, but when I realized it really doesn't surprise me, because what Phi Psi stands for and what they believe in will never change.
As you could probably tell, it was a theme throughout this presentation. It's the backbone for our organization and also a framework for us to live our lives. The creed. We recite it at least once a week. We learn the words, and as mentioned, we know that they're not just words on a page, but how do we know that we're living it? Now, fortunately, we have such impressive and esteemed alumni such as yourselves who have graduated, who show us what living the creed every day for the rest of their days is all about. A pledge that we all took. And for that, we thank you.
I believe that Phi Kappa Psi is a brotherhood of honorable men, courteous and cultured, who pledge throughout their lives to be generous, compassionate, and loyal comrades.
I believe that I am honor-bound to strive manfully for intellectual, moral, and spiritual excellence.
To help and forgive my brothers, to discharge promptly all just debts, to give aid and sympathy to all who are less fortunate.
I believe that I am honor-bound to strengthen my character and deepen my integrity.
To counsel and guide my brothers who stray from their obligations, to respect and emulate my brothers who practice moderation in their manners and morals, to be ever mindful that loyalty to my fraternity should not be in loyalty to my college, but rather increase devotion to it, to my country, and to my God.
I believe that to all I meet, wherever I go, I represent not only Phi Kappa Psi, but indeed the spirit of all fraternities. Thus I must ever conduct myself so as to bring respect and honor, not to myself alone, but also to my fraternity.
To the fulfillment of these beliefs, of these ideals, and the noble perfection of Phi Kappa Psi,
I pledge my life and my sacred honor.
On behalf of all the undergraduates here at the Indiana Epsilon chapter, we're very glad to have you back, and we hope to see you at future alumni events. Congratulations on 60 years, Phi Psi.